Hello, good night. This is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I'm here live to take your U.S. immigration related questions. Go ahead and put your questions in the comments now. Today has been a great Friday, a good, solid finish to the work week. So even as we face challenges, because believe it, we are definitely seeing those challenges, I want to highlight the successes. And I want to highlight that because that's what keeps me going. That's what keeps my team going. That's what keeps us going. And I hope it can keep you going as well. So today, I was very touched because we have obtained the T visas for the relatives of our T visa client here. So they went to the embassy, they did the interview at the embassy, and they're now going to join their relative here in the United States. So our client left behind his wife and his young daughter in Jamaica and ended up in a bad situation here in the US. He has his T visa, and today I can say his family is going to join him after years of not being able to see him. So, even in the midst of this terrible time, this very a challenging time, visas are being approved, including visas at the embassy, because our client will be coming in to the country with a visa that was approved today and issued and granted to our client. Our client is going to pick up that visa today. So, guys, there is hope, and that's what we do. That's our job. And what I've been saying to my team is we face challenges, but look at this. We still have success stories. We can still attest to the fact that our work is providing rewards despite the challenges, because what is happening here is we're not cowering and saying, oh my gosh, it's not working out anymore. We look at what we adapt, and we make sure that when we adapt to the changes, we meet the standards, right? We make sure we work to the standards and we provide what immigration needs to qualify our clients, because that's what we are there for, right? We are there, we are needed more than ever. And I tell my team, this is our mission. People need us more than ever. And every week we celebrate the wins of our clients that we were told are impossible, that we have been told are not happening. We, the lawyers, that of course we know that this is still happening, but you have people out there who are telling people, oh, immigrants don't have rights anymore, no more visas, they're not giving out green cards anymore. And that is so false. And because of that, people who qualify for immigration benefits are not going for those benefits because there's so much fear. And while we make sure that our clients are fully informed, we don't work off of fear here. We educate our clients, we tell them exactly how we're going to fight for them, and we do exactly that. So I hope that this gives you hope and that you can reach out, if not to me, reach out to an experienced attorney who can provide information you need to get to where you need to be, to get that protection, to be unified with your family. That's what we do here. That's our mission. And we're staying the course. We're staying steady. And every week we are getting the rewards. We are seeing the rewards because we're not cowering. We are meeting the challenge. We are rising to the challenge. All right. So, with that being said, I want to say happy Friday. For those of you who are celebrating Labor Day, happy Labor Day. Now, I'm going to answer questions. So, let's go ahead and I'm going to start on Instagram answering questions there. Hello, Instagram. How long does the embassy is able to release visa after they have requested my passport? It's IR1. It's now 5 days since I submitted my passport. So I've seen that range anywhere from a few days to even a week. So, I don't know if you have an attorney, talk to your attorney if there are any concerns. There, you can check the status of that as well, to see if there's anything else they need. But it really is a waiting game, and you will get email notification when it's time to pick it up. Okay, so that's the only question I see on Instagram. So if you need help, see the number going across the bottom of the screen, call that number. We are 24 hours a day. So throughout this weekend, throughout the holidays, on holiday, we are answering our phones. We're still booking appointments because we are on a mission to provide help at all times. That's where it's needed. Can you please help me secure H-1B job and visa? So H-1B, the employer would have to come to us, and then we would be able to help the employer. But H-1B is through your employer. So if you have an employer, you can always let the employer know that we do work on those so they can contact us. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and answer here. On TikTok, can you please talk about asylum interviews? So we prepare our client for the interview, and it just depends on your facts. So we go through a prepping. We provide our clients the possible questions that they could get. A lot of it is going to be based on what do you fear in your country, that where you should qualify for asylum. And then the officer is going to break down your facts to determine whether you meet each of the requirements of asylum. A lot of people have the misconception that asylum is something like if you're just afraid because there's no jobs there that you can file for asylum, and that's not necessarily true. You do have to show that you fall within a certain class to qualify for asylum. So, or category, I should say. So, for example, are you afraid to go back to your country because you'll be targeted based on a particular social group you're a part of? Like, for example, are you a part of the LGBTQ community? If that's the case, in some countries, you may be a target. And so you would have you may have a good case for asylum there. Is it based on your religion? Is it based on your ethnicity? Is it based on your nationality? Your ethnic background, for example, if you're a part of an ethnic group in your country. Is it based on your political opinion? And political opinion doesn't necessarily mean just that you have to be famous and you have to be a political person, but it means that maybe you're holding a belief or a belief system that is not in your country. It's controversial. Maybe it's not so politically correct, and because of that, you're facing certain harms. For example, you may fear gang violence, and maybe you've opposed it, and because of that, you've become a target in your community. That is an example where that a political opinion could apply as well. Is it a crime to enter the USA without inspection? So in some states, if you do enter without inspection, they do have crimes. They have criminal conduct, criminal offenses for those, especially if you do it a second time. However, for the most part, immigration is civil and not criminal. So when people are being detained, it's not for necessarily for the purpose of charging with a crime, even though right now it does feel that way. It is more for the purpose of detaining to deport, unless you have a defense. Can I travel for H-1B stamp with approved I-140 without any issues? The approved I-140 isn't going to protect you. H-1B is a dual intent visa, meaning that if they see an approved I-140, it should not necessarily cause them to deny your entry. However, I'm not your attorney. I have not worked on your case. And this is where you definitely need to make sure you're talking with your employer and you're talking to your attorney about your risk factors and whether that's a good idea. Here's the deal too. If your H1B is about to expire, it's running its course, you have an approved I-140, maybe the strategy is you have to finish the rest of the process outside of the United States. So I don't know what the situation is. It depends on your priority date. So, make sure you're consulting with your attorney, or you definitely talk to someone about your ability to travel. Married to USC, and when I say someone, it has to be an attorney. Married to USC, I-130 approved, DACA, 25 days unlawful removal order, risk if I travel with AP. That is so traveling with advanced parole and you have a removal order, that's very risky. If you have an attorney, make sure you are sitting down and fully evaluating all the risk associated with that, because having a removal order and then leaving the country could be construed as self-deporting, even though yes, you do have an AP. So you have to be very careful. And you said 25 days, so it's recent, right? When did you get the AP? Did you get a removal order after the AP, which is advanced parole? So you have to deal with that court case. You have to go to the court. You have to get your case reopened and terminated in order to move past that to get your adjustment of status. Or to even be able to consider traveling. I'm not your attorney though, so make sure you're talking to your attorney about that. I'm on F1, need to go for stamping. Okay. All right. Okay. So I'm going to go on YouTube and Facebook now. Hello. Hi, Mike. Hi, Tafa. Nice to see you. Hi, Unpredictable One and Tossin. Nice to see you. Do you think my DV lottery green card is another way to try to become a permanent resident in the US? So if you have a green card, so yeah, it depends. Is your country, if your country is a DV lottery country, yeah, definitely you can get permanent residence through the lottery as well. Okay, talking about the U visa. So the U visa, the U visa is for victims of certain crime. Now, not being the victim of all crime qualifies. There are certain crimes, and the way that they determine what crimes qualify is by saying, were you the victim of a crime that caused physical or mental abuse? If that happened, then that may very well qualify you. Now, once we determine that you do qualify based on the crime that you're a victim of, the next thing is you have to go for certification. Now, if you reported it, even if you didn't go to court, you reported it though to the police, that can still be certified. A lot of people think somebody has to be prosecuted or somebody has to be jailed, you have to go to court. You could have just reported the crime and you would have qualified for the U visa. At that point, once we put everything together, so we make the argument why you qualify based on the type of crime, we gather your statement, we take information about the crime itself, and then we get the U certification. Once we get those, we file it. When it goes to immigration, it goes into process, and then they will go ahead and they will issue a bona fide determination letter, and then you'd get your work permit at the same time, because we apply for your work permit at the same time. And once you get that, it's a 4-year work permit and it's renewable until you are approved for the U visa. Now, the disadvantage with the U visa is it's a 10-year process. So, but the advantage is you do get protection once you get the deferred action and the bona fide determination and work permit. You have everything you need to be able to live and work here until the U visa is processed. So your spouse, your children under 21 and unmarried can qualify. If you were under the age of 21 when you're the victim of a crime, your parents and your siblings who are unmarried and under 18 can also qualify for it as well. So it is we have gotten that approved for our clients, and it makes a difference, guys. How long after VAWA approval, court can remove removal procedures. This process, it takes long. Yes, it can take long. So expect anywhere from 6 months to a year. And with what's happening right now, maybe even longer. But yeah, expect 6 months to a year. All right. I got social and work permit by VAWA when the time to get residents they interview. So they may interview while your VAWA is pending to make sure everything lines up, and then they interview for the green card stage. So once your VAWA is approved, then they move on to the green card stage and you do another interview for that. Okay, so it's been over a year, and my petition I-130 for my husband still hasn't been approved. I'm a U.S. citizen, so that's not out of the ordinary. It can go for even over a year. So, it's unfortunately should be moving faster, but that does happen. What you can do is check processing times at USCIS. If you're outside of your case processing times, case inquiries may work here. You can also contact them directly and see, just make sure everything is good. There's nothing you need. Make sure you're getting all your mail at the right place. I filed for Form G through 325A for deferred action with a work authorization. How long does it take? So I've seen deferred action take anywhere from I've seen it take a month. I've seen it take 3 months. I'd say anywhere between a month to 6 months after it's filed. My court date was postponed. No, I can't find a new court date on the EOIR platform. So they might post it. It doesn't mean you won't ever have a court date. It just means they'll post it later. So you'll probably get an update. N400 interview is pending. I was abroad for 10 months in 2021. Will that affect my application? It may. So usually there's a presumption that you have abandoned your permanent residence if you've stayed for over 6 months, but under a year. So in that case, you need to show how is it that you are maintaining your residence to rebut the presumption that so be ready for that line of questioning. It doesn't mean you will lose, but they may deny you based on a lack to show continuous residence if you can't overcome that presumption. So make sure you're gathering, were you paying taxes? Were you filing taxes during that time? What were you doing, even though you're outside of the US? What were you doing in the US? Were you still paying your rent, paying taxes here? What were you doing to maintain your life in the US while you were outside of the US for 10 months? Now get a lawyer. At the end of the day, guys, get a lawyer, because as I said before, now I'm telling you a lot of procedural requirements, right? They can presume, right, so they are supposed to deny based on a presumption that you've abandoned your green card when you stayed outside of the country for more than 6 months. However, it's a rebuttable presumption. And so that's where it's important to have that legal knowledge to be able to know what to rebut, what exactly can help you to overcome and still get an approval. Okay, so VAWA is pending, married USC. So if you have a VAWA that's pending, it means you have a pending process and you're in a much better position than those without. Having a pending process means that they won't detain you, or it means that you have the ability to be released even if you're detained at first, or you have the ability to show a judge that you should be released and maybe even have your case terminated so you can continue to go through the VAWA adjustment of status process. So this is where I say having a pending process gives you more potential options in the case you're detained or you get a notice to appear, right? And then always remember, even in the case that you get denied, there are ways to appeal it. You do have the ability to correct it at that point, but here's the big difference. Once something happens, like you get a notice to appear or you get detained, then your chances of building up a case, it gets harder because you're detained. You don't have access to your documents or access to people as much as you did before to build your case. So very important that you understand, you have a plan in place, you understand your options before anything bad happens. Okay, so it's pending 1 year and 7 months. So it's taking over 3 years right now for a decision on the VAWA. Usually, you at the 6 month to 12-month mark, you'll get your work permit, and that's a 5-year work permit, and that should carry you through until you get the approval. And then once you get the approval, it goes on to the green card stage. Now, another thing that it tends to provide you some reassurance is if you're applying for adjustment of status. Adjustment of status is that document that under the law allows you to be here temporarily while your process is going through. Of course, if you apply and you don't qualify for it, that could be a problem because you're going to get a notice to appear because they're going to find you don't qualify for it. This is where I say it's very important to understand what do you qualify for, what don't you qualify for, so you don't increase your risk. Thanks so much for the compliment. I appreciate that. Let's see. Happy Friday, Marcia. Thank you. Will USIS send you a notification if they deny T visa bona fide? Yes. Do you know why they deny? So my colleagues have been seeing a pattern where if you've had a removal order, if you've had mainly removal orders, of course, offenses, even minor offenses, can result in a denied bona fide determination. But keep in mind, I want you to know this, a denied bona fide determination does not mean they're going to deny your T visa. It just means that for now, because it's discretionary, they don't see it fit to give you a bona fide determination because of something in your background. They will go on to still evaluate your application, and if you qualify, you'd still be approved there as well. So it's not going to have unless the criminal conduct in your background truly disqualifies you and you didn't apply for a waiver, that's another story. The form, it was filed May 29th with work authorization. It's in process. How long does it take? So about 3 to 6 months. VAWA was approved a few months ago and got RFE for medical. How long for a last decision? So I would say I've seen anywhere from 4 months to 12 months to get the green card, which you're at the green card stage. So it's just a matter of time. And the fact that they've just asked for your medical, that's good news. I've also seen where they've scheduled an interview first before giving. So, be ready for a possible interview. But many of my clients did get the green cards and have gotten the green cards here in 2025 without the interview. So let's see. How do I correct my first name to USCIS? They misspell my name. So you have to contact them directly. There is a place for, I mean, if you made a mistake, if you go on the website, they may still have the form to correct typographical errors. You might have to write them directly to let them know, or call them and let them know your name is misspelled so that they may be able to take note of it or give you specific instructions. How long it takes to get residence with VAWA after you receive your work permit. So I would say after the work permit, maybe 2.5 to 3 years to get that work, to get the work permit, 6 months to 12 months, 6 to 12 months after filing. After work permit for asylum seekers, what's the next step? Then you're going to wait for a decision. They're going to call you for an interview and then make a decision. Does USCIS send a notification when your green card is processed and mailed out? They will put it on the case status updates, and you'll know by your approved I-485. So you'll get a notice like that in the mail with the approved I-485. How long does EAD take now? It depends on what the case type is. I would say anywhere from 3 months to 12 months. Receive form I-797C telling me to open another account, and I already have an account. So I'm not sure about that issue there. Hi there, Veronica. Nice to see you. All right. I'm on Instagram again. So put your questions in the comments. Got prima facie and work permit. Okay, great. So you have the work permit, you have the prima facie. So that's great. You have a work permit that puts you in an even better position. And it's it substantially reduces the chances of being detained with a work permit because you have permission to be here on that work permit. Unless you get a denial or they revoke work permit, it's a current valid work permit, you're good to go for now until they make a decision. All right. Let's see. How long does it take for I-130 to be approved? It could be I've seen it as short as 4 months, and we expedited that case, to as long as a couple years, depending on what category your relative is in. For immediate relatives of U.S. citizens, spouse, parent, children of U.S. citizens, children under 21 of U.S. citizens, 9 months to a year, maybe a little over a year. Anybody else, you're looking at maybe a couple years, 2 to 3 years. Do I need to do medical again to get work permit? No medical is needed for the work permit. Hi there, Julian. Nice to see you. Oh, thanks for the follow, guys. I appreciate it. All right. So the best way that you're going to be able to get the help is to give us a call. We're 24 hours a day, even through this holiday weekend. Give us a call. Let's talk. Does infidelity qualifies for VAWA? It depends on what happened with the infidelity. I would say infidelity alone doesn't count, but in many cases, infidelity comes with other things: disrespect, shame. They use it as a tool to hurt you. If they use infidelity as a tool against you to put you down, to be able to subject you to extreme cruelty, yes, that absolutely qualifies for VAWA. So give us a call and we can talk, because the important thing is when we talk to you, that's where we hear your particular circumstances to understand exactly what fits your situation and how we can get you to a solution. So make that move first. That's going to be the first step. and we are booking out. So we are booking out quickly. So get in touch so that we can talk to you as soon as possible. How many percent chance to get approved for T visa after I-765 bona fide determination on approved? Wow, that's very specific. So our approval rating has been very good. Knock on wood, and that's I just set off my puppy knocking on the wood. But here's the deal. It really depends on your case and the strength of your case. We don't take cases that we believe are losing cases, and that's what makes our success rate so high. So, what's the success rate overall? It's high for us. It's we definitely are in the 90% success rate. However, I at this time I don't have the numbers for immigration, but we don't take cases that losing cases. So give us a call, talk to us about your situation, and then we can advise you about how to move forward. How long should you wait after interview to get an answer? So it could take months. I've even seen, over a year. It just depends on the interview. I mean, the interviewer has 4 months, 120 days to answer. After a VAWA approval, what's the chance of approval on I-45? It gets higher. So I would say getting the VAWA approval is the challenging part, and then the I-45, it comes down to what's in your background. You just have to make sure if there's something in your background, you applied for a waiver. Make sure you qualify in every way. One of the benefits of VAWA is it doesn't matter how you enter the country. So if you enter the country without permission, you enter the country with a visa and you overstayed, they don't use that against you for VAWA, right? But if there's something else like a criminal background that they have to take into consideration, that's another story. And sometimes if you have a permanent bar, you can overcome the permanent bar. But if there's a permanent bar, meaning you got deported, for example, and then snuck back into the country, then that is a possible permanent bar. And one thing with VAWA is you can overcome it. It's not necessarily permanent with VAWA, but you have to work a little harder to get there. How long does I-601 take to be approved if you're outside the US already? As I'd say, expect 2 years. Do you take cases in Florida? We are based in Florida. We take cases in all 50 states on the globe. We are in Florida, though. We're based in Delray Beach, Florida. Thanks for the love, guys. I appreciate it. Keep in mind that when you like, share, you tap the screen, you subscribe, it helps others to see us and be able to get information that empowers them. And it also enables you to continue to see me. So when I'm live, you can be live. I also release informative videos every single day talking about giving tips, giving information, giving updates. So that can help you as well going through the process. And of course, the best thing you should do is contact us. I'm British, but I overstayed my ESTA, and I don't see the rest. No, if it depends on what you qualify for. Is there any way forward options for out of status? That's exactly what we help our clients with. We help our clients who have overstayed or who have entered the country without permission to see, are there any legal options? That's where we make a difference. What is the percent of my boyfriend getting approved for permanent green card after his divorce because ex-wife cheated? I have no idea, because that is very specific to your circumstances. So if your boyfriend is concerned, he needs to get a lawyer for sure, and talk to the lawyer about that. So give us a call. Let's talk. I overstayed, but I'm still in the US. Give us a call. Let's find out why. Let's figure out your circumstances and see if there are any options for you. That's exactly what we do. So that's why I say it starts there. Every single successful client that we've had, it had started with a phone call. And every time I've talked to these clients, they tell the same story. They saw me on the video talking and they decided to reach out, and that changed their lives. So it starts with that, guys. Starts with a phone call, starts with a click of the button to be able to schedule your own appointment online, because you are able to also schedule your own appointment online. So go ahead, give us a call. So that's where we can start. How do I know my VAWA case is approved? You'll get notification. Thank you for the share. Thank you for sharing the live. I appreciate it. Can I get deported if currently in process for status of adjustment? Adjustment of status is what enables you, if you qualify for adjustment of status, you correctly filed an adjustment of status, that is what keeps you from being deported until your case is decided. And once your case is decided, hopefully it's an approval, you get to stay. So adjustment of status is what protects you if you filed a petition. Someone did their from last December and still no answer, yet he's worried his spouse has petitioned for the kids too. So is it that he got receipt notice but nothing else? That's not necessarily out of the ordinary. If he didn't get a biometrics, that may be. So, contact them to see, make sure everything is still good. Now, her filing for the kids wouldn't affect his petition. So maybe there's something, is the mail, did something get lost in the mail? My friend got FAFSA through prima facie. Will there be any issues when filing for citizenship? No. Like if they ask if he has been receiving government benefits, no, they don't look at government benefits for citizenship. So it should not be a problem, especially if they got FAFSA while applying for VAWA, because right, prima facie. So if VAWA, T visa, U visa, asylum, they're exempt from any issues regarding taking public benefits. So they don't look at that. What's the percentage of VAWA approval in your firm as of 2025? So we have a 99% approval. So we are very high as well. So we've been very successful, and that's because we choose our cases very carefully. We make sure that each person qualifies. But the problem is a lot of people qualify and they just don't know it. And we ask the right questions to get to that answer, to be able to help our clients. Now, keep in mind, even though our success rate is very high, it does not mean I'm guaranteeing for anybody that the same results will happen in future cases. It's very important for you to make sure you're knowing that me saying this, because it's our reality, does not mean that it's a guarantee for the future. My husband filed for my kids as his step kids since September 2020. They haven't approved until now. That's a long time. And is he a green card holder? Something seems a little iffy there. So you can always give us a call. Let's figure out where are you, where are the children, where are you in the process, and then decide what's happening and see if we can help you. Give us a call or talk to your attorney if you have an attorney. Can I apply for NIW while in asylum, originally from J1 visa? That's very complicated. It just depends, right? NIW, did you overstay? If where are you on the J1? Do you have a 2-year foreign residency requirement? What's the priority date on the NIW? We have to look at a lot of things there. If I'm on government assistance and finding someone with that affects them. And filing for someone, no. So the citizen being on government benefits doesn't affect them, but being on government benefits usually indicates your income is low. So you just have to make sure, is your income too low to be able to file for someone? Because you do need an affidavit of support to show you make enough to get your case approved. Is it complex moving from marriage based to VAWA? If it's a must, I would say this: if it's a must, we get it done, right? So is it complex? Don't worry about complex. We deal with the complex. Can it be done? Absolutely. Do you need it done? You need to contact us right away, right? Because it's usually urgent if you have to move it from marriage based to VAWA. The complexities, that's what we're here to do, is to help you through the complexities, to navigate that. Do we have cases like this all the time? Absolutely. Is there a 25 year, if it is a 25-year gap, does it make a big difference? Yes, it can be a trigger for fraud investigation, meaning they're going to pay a lot more attention. So you need to be on your P's and Q's, get representation so your case is presented properly. If have T visa case, do you need to get married? No marriage. So no, there's no marriage involved with a T visa. You don't depend on a spouse for T visa. Your spouse, you can bring your spouse with you on a T visa, but you don't have to get married. You have to be married to bring your spouse, but you don't have to be married to get the T visa. Got married in 2019 in Morocco, came to USA February 2021, got 2-year green card. My I-751 still pending. We've applied with my ex-husband on February 2023, then get divorced on September 2023. When can I apply for citizenship? So have you gotten your tenure? Because there's a lot going on here. This is like a law school fact pattern that we have to solve here, right? Because based on this, you've applied to go from the 2-year to the 10-year, but you applied on February 17, 2023, and then divorced September 2023. Did you file for a waiver? Because if you didn't file for a waiver, you're going to be in serious problems, right? Even if you apply for citizenship and you don't file a divorce waiver to be able to continue through your process by yourself, you're going to be in big trouble. So make sure you understand that. Give us a call. I say this though, guys, no, it's not the time to try this out. It's not paperwork. The law is much more complicated. So don't just say, I'm going to just submit the paperwork and see what happens. There are real laws behind this. You're not filling out a form. An officer is evaluating laws that you probably have not even thought about, right? And so if you don't understand the intricacies of the law behind your applications, you are going to mess up and it's going to not be great, right? It means that now you can get a notice to appear. So in this case where you divorce your spouse in 2023, they can deny your I-751 because you're divorced unless you show them why they shouldn't deny it by showing that you're applying on your own. You absolutely need a waiver for that. So get in touch with us. This is what we do. But now is not the time to play around with your applications. You want to get it right the first time. And so don't make guesses. Don't try it out. Don't just try your luck. This is not about trying your luck. We did not get lucky, right? We're not lucky winning our cases. We work hard, right? We work hard to get it done and we make sure we're thorough. Spouse die but file for VAWA, what are the chances? So yeah, I mean, if your spouse passes away and you file for the VAWA within 2 years of your spouse's death, you can still get VAWA. So that's not going to, unless you filed outside of the deadline of 2 years from the time of your spouse's death. Is there still due process? Absolutely, there's due process. And our successes show that there is some form of due process. Immigration courts, once you get detained and you are going through immigration court, that is a form of due process. Now it's getting harder for people to be released. They're restricting bond for certain individuals. So this is what I say: come up with an emergency plan. So if you're at risk for detention, you understand your options, you understand how to which lawyer to contact, who's your lawyer, and the lawyer jumps into action, right, to try to get you out. What I have found is individuals who didn't just kind of went freestyled it and didn't try to figure it out or didn't have a plan, because once you get locked up, you can't, are limited to talking to people. Lawyers, if you're not represented by a lawyer, first, it's hard to get to a lawyer at that point, right? And then second, even if you contact, you're limited on contact. When you call that lawyer, you want the lawyer to at least know your case, know who you are, to be able to immediately jump into action, file G28, your signed G28 with them, file, and if they're gonna remove you right now because you already have a removal order, they can put in an emergency stay of removal to be able to help you to stay. But if you don't have some kind of plan in place, once you get locked up, it gets very hard, and the family members often don't know what to do. They don't know all the details to be able to help the attorney to determine what relief you are entitled to. So keep that in mind. There are things you can do now to protect yourself. One is figure out your options, because if you qualify for something and you go for it, it could very well mean the difference between you being detained and you moving forward with your life here in the US. So that's the first thing. And then two, have an emergency plan for your family, yourself. So if anything happens and you get taken off the road on your way to work in a traffic stop, your family knows exactly what to do, how to find you, which lawyer to call, that you have signed documents already on the lawyer, in the lawyer's file, that if the lawyer has to file at least a G28 to say, I represent the client very quickly, that can happen. When a client contacts us for the very first time and we don't know them, they're not our client, what happens, it takes a solid week just to get in touch with a client who is detained, just to be able to get a G28 completed and submitted, and to be able to arrange a meeting with the client. It takes time. And so having an emergency plan in place can help to get things running, get things going a little faster. So yeah, so we got divorced in Morocco. So it doesn't matter where you got divorced, you're divorced. And if you say you're still married, that's misrepresentation if you know you're divorced. So, but can I at least travel for 2 weeks with a valid stamp with an extension? I can't tell you that. Remember, this is not personalized legal advice. I am giving you general information. So, can you travel? I would say at this point you have some business that has not been resolved. So if my client was in your situation, I would say no, do not travel until we can smooth out this whole waiver issue. What I do suggest that you do is give us a call ASAP and let's talk about that waiver, because that's going to be important to fix the situation. A waiver can be filed at any time. Oh, thank you so much, Julianne. I appreciate that. Good day. Is it normally from a green card holder file an I-130 still no approval? Is it normally 1 year and 9 months? For green card holders, it could very well be. It depends on what category you're in, but I've seen them range anywhere from 4 months. Generally, average is a year, a year for relatives of U.S. citizens, but other categories I've seen it go over. So even 2 years, 3 years. Some cases take 7 years total, so they don't see the rush to decide those cases right now. All right, guys, that's going to be it for me. Thank you so much for your time and these great questions. I will be back on Monday. So look out for me on Monday. And, if you're available, hop on. That's where I say like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share, so that I can keep appearing on your page. You can get notification when I go live and others can see this information. But where you can make a difference in your own life is through action. And as I said before, with every successful case that we've had, that started with a phone call. After a video just like this, it started with a phone call. So take action. We're solution oriented. And even though I do update you about the scary stuff, I do provide ways that you can alleviate that to get to a solution. So we are empowered here. We are solution oriented. We walk with faith and we get results. So make sure that you have that attitude with the information I've shared. I hope that gives you hope in this challenging time, but it's a challenge and we have to rise to the challenge. Have a good one, everybody. I will see you on Monday. Please I hope you have a good, restful, productive weekend. Bye-bye.